Israel Adesanya is scheduled to face the current light heavyweight king, Jan Blachowicz, at UFC 259 on March 6, 2021, according to the UFC president Dana White. We did an inside look at this fight and different scenarios on how Jan can KO Izzy and Izzy can KO Jan. Link in the description and at the top right of your screen. This video won't go into who we think wins or any of that. Comment down below who you think wins and how. This video is about what Izzy is doing to prepare for his bout against the Polish Hammer, Jan Blachowicz. He has said in the past that he will not be looking to gain weight just to fight a heavier opponent. Rather, he will continue using the same approach and weight he's currently walking around and trains in. There was something very interesting he did bring up though. He has a secret weapon that he looks to use to prepare for the fight. That secret weapon goes by the name of Mike Blood Diamond. Before we go any further, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We do a weekly podcast and talk about breaking news in the UFC and MMA. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers and hope you join us on this journey. Israel Adesanya trains out of City Kickboxing Gym located in New Zealand. Some notable names that also train there are top lightweight Dan Hooker and current featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski, but there's also a name that many people just don't know about, which to be fair isn't really their fault. Mike Blood Diamond is an accomplished martial artist who for the majority of his martial arts career was a kickboxer. He has competed in many tournaments and won against high-level fighters in his region. Just like Izzy, Mike has made the move to MMA where he utilizes his base of kickboxing to try to compete in local MMA promotions. He currently sports a 3-0 record, with 2 of those being finishes, one via TKO and the other by submission. He is very early in his MMA career, but he'll be looking to make his eventual debut in the UFC at 170-pound weight division. He is one of Adesanya's training partners for his upcoming fight against Jan Blachowicz. So what? The man has 3 MMA fights. How can he really help Izzy? Well, let's take a look at a couple things first. Izzy has said that he doesn't believe that gaining weight and packing on more muscle is the best decision for anyone, especially himself when moving up divisions. He noted that you no longer are the same fighter anymore. You've been training at a certain weight, speed, and endurance for your entire career. Why disrupt that progress and ability simply because you believe you need to be bigger and stronger? According to Izzy, if you were ever to fight Adesanya, you will realize that he is much stronger than he appears to be. There is some merit to this. We really haven't seen Izzy being manhandled or completely out-grappled by any of his opponents that we can clearly see are heavier and have a larger frame. Yoel Romero, Paulo Costa, Derek Brunson, the list goes on. But how does this translate when you're going from 185 weight class to 20 pounds higher to the 205 division? The fighters at the light heavyweight division could be walking around 20 to 40 pounds heavier than Izzy. Muscle and size isn't the only determining factor in a fight, but it is a big deal when you factor in the impactfulness of landed strikes and grappling. Regardless, Izzy believes it won't be a factor, so we'll move on for this for now. Possibly in another video, we will visit a different scenario where a bigger fighter fought a fighter in a lower weight division. What could Izzy bringing up Mike Diamond being his training partner mean? Izzy noted that Mike is an awkward fighter which will mirror Jan in training, who also could be categorized as having an awkward fighting style. From what we know, and what Mike has said in his interviews, Mike has a base in kickboxing and not much in the grappling department. We will proceed with assuming that Mike is solely in there training with Izzy for the purpose of mirroring Jan's striking. The only footage that we really could find of Mike was during his kickboxing career. Mike has 2 very distinctive aspects to his game. He really has a nonchalant mentality, where he will keep his pace of fighting regardless of what his opponent does. Sounds familiar? This is very much what Jan does in his fights. He will sit back at times and it will feel like he's pulling his opponent into a snail's pace. This is done so the opponent is no longer able to control the pace of the fight and is taken out of their game. The second aspect is Mike's kick-heavy game. Mike's hands aren't the fastest nor that complex. You can tell where he shines the most, and that's his kicking game, which includes to the leg, body, and the head. Does this sound familiar as well? Jan in his fight against Izzy should be looking to use leg kicks and body kicks to slow Izzy down. Jan won't be able to simply headhunt and think he will win. He has to slow Izzy down and allow himself to have a chance to hit Izzy in the later rounds. I don't know how much of a game changer Mike Diamond actually is, or if we can quantify it at all. The bigger takeaway from this information is rather how Izzy is approaching this fight, and what he has identified as key areas in his training. He He has identified that Jan has a very good kicking game, and that he needs to train at his current weight to avoid kicks from all avenues. Jan is slower in comparison to the 170-pound fighter Mike Diamond, and is not as versatile in his kicking ability from what I've seen. Power is a different story, but if Izzy is able to avoid kicks from a kickboxer who is much quicker and versatile in his kicks than Jan, would power even matter if Izzy is able to avoid all of Jan's kicks?
Okay, so Jan Blachowicz versus Israel Adesanya.
Whoa.
I think Izzy pieces him up. I think he pieces him up with the speed. He's too accurate, and he pieces him up. Jan's gonna walk in trying to box.
Yep.
And Izzy's just gonna touch, kick, and boink, it's gonna be over. It's gonna be over. I think Luke Rockhold put a lot of pressure on Jan in the wrestling department, but he was able to kind of land a couple good shots in that exchange. Izzy's a different level of stand-up, and Izzy's going to be able to touch him enough to where it's going to make Jan a little bit more hesitant to just walk right in with big power shots. And he's going to get frustrated and try to do more because 185-pounder is piecing him up, or he's just going to sit back and do what Cochino did. And just not do it. Borachin. Yeah, he's just going to sit back and go, hey, I'm just going to just let the fight come to me, and Izzy doesn't have to bring the fight to him. Izzy just got to touch. He will, but he'll just touch.
Bring it in his own fashion, yeah.
He'll just touch and win by points because he's so damn good. I'm going to go with Izzy. I think Izzy's going to piece him up. He's going to be cautious about it because he don't want to get touched. He don't want to get knocked out. But I think the speed, the reach, the range, all those things are going to favor, and this just the style of stand-up. He's so much better on the feet. Maybe not in the boxing area, but he's just so much better on the feet, mixing everything up.
Yeah, I really like what I've seen out of Jan Blachowicz as he's gone to light heavyweight, because people forget that he was a middleweight, and then he went to light heavyweight, and the speed factor has helped him at light heavyweight. And he's a thick, block-headed, take a big shot Polish guy he's a mean, nasty, good fighter. I just always go with technical skill, and I don't rely on the chin, because the chin can only last so long no matter who you are. And I look at this fight, I look at it the same way as you. Technically, I think that Adesanya is just too good in the overall game, especially the stand-up game, because Blachowicz needs to get inside with his boxing. Yeah. And Israel is outstanding at keeping guys who want to get into a boxing range away from it. So I could be wrong, but I say that Israel walks away as the champion.
And what do you think about Israel Adesanya looking to go up to light heavyweight to challenge Jan Blachowicz? What do you think that does to the middleweight division? How do you see that playing out?
Well, he is an active champ, so I believe that he wants to go up there and win, and then come down and defend his belt again. So as long as it not take too long and he stays active, it should be fine. I really hope that he wins the fight so he can keep his hype and his so he's undefeated when on that day when I go up and face him, because I want to fight the best Adesanya there is, and I want him to be undefeated, and I want him to be a double champ, so I can get that when I beat him. So that's my hope.
Yeah, definitely. And how do you think he does against Jan Blachowicz then? How would you break down that fight, and how do you think he does?
Well, Jan is crafty and powerful, but I believe that Adesanya is on the next level when it comes to striking. I think he's a lot quicker. I think it's going to be hard for Jan to hang with Adesanya, especially in the stand-up. But Adesanya is so good with his footwork and his range as well, so it's hard to take him down. So I really believe that Adesanya is gonna win that fight. Pretty convincingly.
Do you think a matchup between him and John Jones is also on the cards, or do you think he comes back to middleweight and then that's where he stays, or maybe goes between the two divisions, light heavyweight and middleweight?
He might go between, but I think the John Jones fight will take some time. It seems like John Jones is going up in weight now and is going to be maybe fighting in heavyweight. And so, I don't know, in a couple of years, maybe that fight will happen, but not in the nearest future.
If you liked the video, make sure to press the thumbs up. And if you want more, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this and our podcast talking about the latest news and events in the UFC and MMA. Follow our Instagram page and TikTok in the description below. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers and we hope you join us on this journey. I would like to say lastly, this is just a combination of information, speculation, and opinion. Voice your opinion down in the comments. We are ready to listen. We are super pumped for this fight and look forward to hearing from Jan's camp and what they're doing to prepare for this fight.